What the hell is going on? Now, you guys have probably seen plenty of videos talking about how the world is burning, the sky is falling, and all over the news that we're going into a recession. Stock markets are down 40%, and there's plenty of real estate properties out there that are seeing tons of price adjustments and prices are going down. And I'll be the first to tell you that yes, across the nation, we are seeing that reflected in certain areas and states. Out here in Hawaii, not so much, but a little bit. So in this video, we're going to show you exactly what's going on in the market out here in Hawaii, how the hell we got here, why understanding interest rates is so important and how it got us to where we are now, why interest rates are so important to understand and how it could affect you, what this means for buyers and sellers, and lastly, how you can take advantage of this to possibly put yourself in a situation to build tons of wealth for you and your family. So stick around to get all the details. See you on the other side. All right, guys, like I mentioned, we're going to go over a lot of information on what the hell is going on in the market, not only in the nation, but more specifically out here in Oahu, Hawaii, when it comes to real estate. We're going to cover a lot of information, but before we jump into that, I want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Patrick Longley. I am a licensed real estate agent out here in Oahu, Hawaii, and I've been helping buyers and sellers for the last decade purchase and sell their homes. So if you are looking to do that and need any assistance, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. Got my contact information right here, and you can directly DM me on any of my social media platforms. But with that being said, let's jump into understanding what the hell is going on in this market and really dive into it. So the first thing we want to understand is what's going on in the market. Now, you've probably been hearing this term, the market is shifting. What does that mean? People shoving people around? No. What we're seeing is that interest rates have gone up, which has really brought down buyers' affordability or their ability to purchase a home. And that is bringing less buyers to the table, which basically means that sellers can't just ask for whatever they want and get 1,000 offers, 100, 200 grand over asking because there's not that many buyers coming to the table. And we'll dive into that in a second. But that is generally speaking the shift that we're seeing happening right now, is that less buyers are coming to the table, which means sellers don't have all the power they have. So we're seeing a shift of the power going from the sellers a little bit more into the buyers. Right now, I would say it's more of a normal or balanced market. Before, we were seeing 27, 30% appreciation year over year. And just recently, we're starting to see it shift a bit more because not as many buyers are coming to the table. So instead of there being 33 offers on a property, we're seeing more like 3, 6, or 8 being a lot. So it's a major difference happening, but the market is still pretty steady. It's just a little bit more balanced. Now, that is specifically for Hawaii because it's a very high demand state. Now, we can see that in certain other areas in Middle America or parts of the mainland that we are seeing major price drops. But out here in Hawaii, the market is still pretty strong and we're not even in a major decline. It's more that we're just getting into a normal balanced market. Having 33 offers on your property is not normal.
That's not normal.
So that, generally speaking, is what the shift is and what's going on in the market. Now let's understand how we got here. Now, before we understand how we got here, we need to understand where we were and then how we got here. So to understand where we were, we need to understand that when COVID happened 12, 18 months ago, whatever it was, I can't even remember, basically the economy shut down. People couldn't go to work, they couldn't pay their rent, and they couldn't buy things. And generally speaking, when that happens and the government needs to stimulate the economy, what they do is they drop interest rates. And the reason why they do that is it allows businesses as well as people to borrow money at a very, very low rate, which allows them to borrow money and spend it and push it out into the economy. And the government was passing out checks basically for free and just making the money maker go brrr. And basically we just stimulated the economy with lots of cash. We've actually made almost 25% of all of the circulated money in the United States in the last year, which is absolutely insane. So it was only a matter of time till we saw some repercussions, and that's what we're starting to see happen. So that was where we were. We had super low interest rates, which made money very cheap to borrow, and people basically went to go buy houses with very, very cheap money, and there was no inventory because nobody wanted to move. There was COVID happening, and basically you had no inventory and a ton of buyers. So then what we had was an unbalanced market, tons of buyers, not enough inventory, which naturally drove the price up. And on top of it, money was very cheap to borrow. So again, what I meant by that is that you had sometimes 20, 30 offers on one property and people willing to pay anything, give their firstborn child just to get into a home because they were competing against so many people. Now, things have changed. So let's discuss where we are now. Now that COVID is come and gone, the government now needs to kind of fix what they set up by printing so much money because that created lots of what we call inflation. Just in the last report, we saw that we're basically looking at about 8.5% inflation, and we generally like to stay in that 2 to 3% annual. So it's almost tripled compared to what we are used to, and that's what we like to call hyperinflation. That is not good.
Oops.
So what the government is doing to fix that problem is they are increasing interest rates to slow down the economy, and that is very very important to understand, which leads us to our next point of why interest rates are so important and how it got us to where we are now. So the third thing we're gonna go over is why interest rates are so important. Well, interest rates basically allow you to understand how much it costs for you to borrow money. And the best way to explain this in regards to buyers is what I like to call the rule of 10x. Now I have a video right up above here or there that goes over it in more detail, but I'll generally go over it with you guys so that you can understand it. The rule of 10x basically says for every 1% that interest rates go up or down, affordability or purchasing power for buyers goes up or down 10%. So if a buyer, at a 2.5% interest rate was able to qualify for $1 million, if the interest rate went up to 3.5, they now can only afford $900,000, a 10% decrease in affordability. And that really changes up how many buyers you're gonna have coming to the table, because they're sometimes getting pushed out of a certain market and not able to purchase that home that they first wanted now that interest rates have gone up. So as you guys saw, the rule of 10x is really what we're seeing shifting the market a lot, because we haven't just gone up 1%. We started at about 2.5, 3%, and now we're creeping up to 6%. So that is really almost a 30% decline in purchasing power for lots of buyers in a short amount of time. We're talking 3 to 4 months that we've seen the largest incline in interest rates that we've ever seen ever. Now, the fourth thing we need to understand is what does this mean for buyers and sellers? Well, for buyers, it's going to be more expensive for you to borrow money, which means what you can afford in regards to your monthly payment and how much house you can buy is going to go down significantly. Now, what does this mean for sellers? Well, sellers, sorry to tell you, but the boat is kind of come and gone of those days where you could ask for any price and you would get 100, 200 grand over asking and multiple offers over asking. Those days are becoming very slim. We are still seeing properties go over asking, but not as crazy as it was. And again, we were not in a sustainable market where we're seeing 20 to 30% increase in appreciation year over year end. We generally float in the 4 to 10%, usually 4 to 6. So 27, 30% is not sustainable. So I'm actually glad to see that it's actually slowing down a little bit so it can be balanced, so that we can kind of have somewhat of a reset for the buyers and kind of a check for the sellers to realize that they can't just ask for whatever they want, putting a little bit more power into the buyer's hands once again. So generally speaking, sellers, it's so important that you price your property accordingly, because if you price it too high, you will not have a bunch of buyers come to the table who will be okay with that. It's so important that you're working with somebody who knows how to strategically price your property, as pricing your property can be 70% of your marketing. It's really going to make or break whether you're going to chase the market and have to keep adjusting your price, or you're going to allow buyers to push the price up. The pricing strategy is extremely important. So again, if you are looking for an agent who can help you strategically price your property and market it to the masses, shameless plug, I'm a realtor and I can help you. So feel free to reach out. Got my contact information down below, or hit me up on any social media platforms. Nice. Now, when it comes to buyers, I know a lot of you guys are probably really feeling like you missed the boat here, but there's a couple things we need to understand. Number one, this is one of my favorite phrases I've been hearing lately, and it really helps resonate with the concept of understanding that this is really an opportunity. You didn't miss the boat. There's an opportunity to be had here. And that phrase is date the rate, marry the house. And what I mean by that is that you now, yes, you having a higher interest rate and it's more expensive to borrow money, and you can't afford the big house that you wanted to buy 6, 12, 18 months ago. But guess what? Now you're not competing against 30 people. You actually have time to think whether you actually want that property or not. Have to see the property on Friday and decide by Saturday and find out whether you got it or not on Monday, because that's literally the market we were in earlier. Yes, you are maybe paying a higher monthly, but you're only dating that rate. You can always change your interest rate once interest rates come back down and simply refinance out of it, and you actually got the house that you wanted. You married the house and you're only dating the rate. So it's important to understand that concept, because I see this as a major opportunity where you can get the property at a price that is reasonable and not out of the ordinary, because you were simply competing against 30 other people. Additionally, we're seeing that inventories increased 18% because of the market slowdown. So you actually are having more options at your disposal when it comes to picking the house of your dreams. And lastly, as the infamous Warren Buffett used to say, you want to sell when people are greedy and buy when people are fearful. And people right now are extremely fearful because they don't know what's going to happen, and they're feared that the interest rates are too high and they can't afford what they want. So they're going to wait for the interest rates to come down. Well, what do you think is going to happen when interest rates come down?
To the moon!
Right back to the moon prices. So do you want to buy them while the prices are going up, or do you want to buy them while they're on the way down and then going to slip right back up? It's really important to understand these concepts. If you're going to hold on to that property for a couple years, it's better to buy it low than buy it high. But at the end of the day, it's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. How long are you going to hold on to that property? And more importantly, when is it the right time for you and your family to purchase a property? So there's just a couple concepts that me preaching to my buyers that right now is actually a great opportunity to buy a property. Yes, interest rates are high, but guys, you can refinance it out of it later. And additionally, because you have more power, and I'll make a separate video about this, you could actually have the seller pay down your rate. So maybe you have a 5% interest rate, but maybe the seller will give you credit for 10 or 15 grand so you can have a 4% interest rate. There are creative ways around this, guys. So make sure that you reach out to me if you have any questions questions. I have lots of creative solutions in any market to get your offer accepted and make sure you get the best deal possible. Okay, guys. And lastly, let's talk about how you can potentially take advantage of this market shift. Now, a lot of you, like I mentioned before, buyers are really down in the dumps thinking, man, I missed the boat. Interest rates are so high. I can't afford that home I wanted. But guess what, guys? I have to challenge you to reframe your brain, because we have to understand, in the famous words of Warren Buffett, you want to sell when people are greedy and buy when people are fearful. All the news, all the information we're seeing out there, everybody's scared and everybody's fearful. It's exactly the best time to buy. I'm buying plenty of stocks. I'm got my war chest ready to purchase some properties because I see opportunity. I don't have to compete against 30 other people. Maybe I'm competing against one, maybe two, and I can get it at value, maybe below or slightly above, but I'm not paying 20, 30, 40, 50 grand over asking and having to cover the appraisal cost. And I know that when interest rates come down, because they will come down, I can refinance out of that and I'll be sitting in a good position because I got it at a good price, and then I can refinance out of that higher interest rate. All right, guys, well, that pretty much wraps it up. If you guys do need any help, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you, whether it's buying or selling your home out here in Hawaii. And I've got my contact information right there, as well as in the description down below. And feel free to contact me on any of my social media platforms. If you guys could do me a huge favor, if you got any value out of this content, smash that like button, as well as click the subscribe and notification bell so you get notified whenever I drop videos just like this. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Aloha.